And welcome to today's recap of the Young Thug video. With me, what's going on there? With me is my creaky chair, and I assume that my Mr. Jingles will join us soon as well. I will not say it because I'm not to say these words, but yeah. But there are some positives today, and we will go through it in today's show. Welcome. Yeah. Today, well, I can't keep doing these polls with how late do you think the judge is, because we already know he will be late. It's getting old. Not as old as me, but it's getting old. So just the common have you liked and subscribed yet? And that goes for you too on the replay crew. And yeah, so George was late. Again. As he is every day. Lunch, the 1 hour lunch, more than an hour. The breaks, I'm glad you are here, you in the chat. My subscribers, people who are not subscribed, just passing through. Give me a few minutes to prove I'm worthy of... What's going on with my camera? To make me prove I'm worthy of your subscription. I will go right into today's trial. And dun dun dun. Let's pick that one. And yeah, we need Mr. Jingles, even if he's currently sound asleep over there. He's with me on screen. All right, yeah. Let's just go through this. I hope I can entertain you all. I really hope. But today was but with one positive. We will get to that, I promise.
Is your son Junior with us this morning?
Oh, closed captions not available on this stream. Ah, darn it. Hold on. I will find another one. Dun dun dun. I know you like the closed captions. Which one is this? It's that one. Yeah. Let's find that other one. There. Okay, let's pick that one instead. Oh, hold on. Where is that one?
Yeah, not a good place for him, I agree.
The keys are in a box, Tim? Keys are in a box? Okay.
Let's place it up there.
So I got this pointed at you, right?
Oh, freak's sake. And the curly wurly of doom. There you go. And hello over at Rumble. I forgot to say hi to you all. Hi, Yvette, Helen, Gigi, Dave, Ghostery, Brandon, and the rest of you. Good to have you all here.
Okay, so Mr. Atkins, who do you have? Do you have Officer Fikes outside?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah, they will start with what they ended with yesterday. The prosecution desperately trying to get the testimony about the other car in and the evidence about the other car. Still.
Okay, all right. Any further issue before I go ahead and call in Officer Fikes and our jurors?
Your Honor, one matter I wanted to discuss. Defense counsel, Mr. Adams, was kind enough to share with the state some body cam that possibly defense could introduce related to the 2018 stop. Per the court's guidance, the state's direct of Officer Fikes is not going to address or discuss anything related to that. It's going to specifically be about what we discussed yesterday. The state, I imagine that the defense counsel with those addressing a stop that we are not getting into, that neither side will inquire of Officer Fikes about something that we're precluded from introducing.
Does Officer Fikes know that?
He knows that I'm not going to be asking him anything related to that stop.
The 18 stop.
Correct, Your Honor. At this time.
All right. You done, Mr. Atkins?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Mr. Adams?
Thank you, Judge. Thank you. I think we need to be clear that the issue that we discussed yesterday has to do with evidence, specifically contraband that was found in the back of the Charger, the second vehicle. We did not say that testimony in regards to the 2018 stop itself was improper, was inappropriate in 2018. And they had Officer Gant here yesterday. Officer Gant is the person who performed the stop in 2018 on Mr. Williams's car. And it was opposition that's fair game. That's fine. He was charged with speeding in that regard. But what the court specifically dealt with was whether or not the guns, the money, and the marijuana that were found in the second car was admissible evidence, was anything we could get into. And then court indicated that absent a further showing of some nexus connection by the state, that we couldn't get into that. Now,
so what is it you want to get into, Mr. Atkins?
Well, I'm just saying that I want to make sure we're not improperly narrowing the scope of our inquiry. Officer Fikes was involved in that second stop. Officer Fikes had some conversation with Officer Gant. I will be candid with the court. What I've shared with the prosecutors is something that arose in the hearing with Gant previously, which is there's a period of time where Officer
Sometimes YouTube unsubscribes people by themselves. So if you believe you're subscribed, check again. You might have been unsubscribed for some odd reason. We all experience that, we content creators, that people get unsubscribed for no apparent reason. Thank you, Deanna, for resubbing. Thank you so much.
Fikes goes up to Officer Gant and specifically tells him to mute his body cam.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's like a minute long. He says, "Are you on or are you hot?"
Yeah.
The officer. Anyway, that to us goes to the credibility of Officer Fikes and doesn't have anything to do with the contraband. There's another portion of the video where Officer Fikes says to Officer Gant, where he goes to Officer Gant, and Officer Gant, they're talking about the fact that Mr. Williams is going to be charged with speeding. And Officer Fikes tries to get Officer Gant to up the charges to reckless driving. He says, if you charge him with reckless driving, we can go in the car. And so to us, that goes to the credibility of Officer Fikes, because the evidence is an officer
I
attempting
don't have
to.
any disagreement with saying those two.
Right.
So anything else?
No, because I don't think that opens the door to
All right,
anything.
well, I was just about to say that. Now, all of you are very skilled examiners, but even the best of us tend to inadvertently do things we're not supposed to. But I'm just going to tell you with that caution, if you get into or open the door as to anything else by your examination, I may change my ruling. Okay.
Understand?
All right. So that's just the caveat that in the most dangerous game. Okay.
No, I understand.
Okay, all right.
And I'm being
Okay.
very candid with the court and
I appreciate
them
that.
in terms of what I intend to get into,
I do.
and that specifically doesn't go to anything.
This is possibly the first time the judge actually helped the defense with something. Now, this is normal. This is the normal when a judge has made a somewhat ruling on a piece of evidence that is not allowed yet. That at this time, with this witness, it all depends on if the defense opens that door. But you have to take one positive with the 1250 13th negative.
Regarding the contraband in car number 2.
Okay.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Officer Fikes, and in Officer Fikes' testimony, Officer Gant informed Officer Fikes to specifically his first interaction, like
But here comes the prosecution.
Officer Fikes is asked a question about 2018. His first interaction was literally walking up to that Charger and seeing the firearms. And so the state's position is that if Officer Fikes Officer Fikes' involvement was overwhelmingly involved with that Dodge Charger. That's why Officer Gant took the warrants out and handled primarily the Porsche. Officer Fikes' initial encounter was approaching the car and seeing these firearms, and that all is kind of part and parcel of Officer Fikes' involvement. So the state is intentionally not trying to get anywhere close to opening or asking Fikes any questions about the 2018 to not run afoul of this court's guidance on that. And the state doesn't feel that if on cross-examination he's asked questions about this stop, that there's any way to discuss that without, on state's redirect, the facts and circumstances of how Fikes is involved, who he interacted with, what he saw. Because if you just take in a vacuum a statement he made, it's relevant. Why is he on scene? What did he do? And his primary role was being quite alarmed when he saw a
Yeah, this is the prosecution trying to backdoor in the evidence from the second car that has nothing to do with the first car. Again. But let's see how this goes.
weapon for what, like in that vehicle. And so his whole interaction, everything he does with that stop is wrapped into the Charger. So the state just wanted to be clear with the court that I cannot envision questioning on Officer Fikes about a stop when he can't discuss the majority of his involvement and how he even got to that location, which was specifically to help Gant, because Gant was going to pull over the Porsche. And Officer Fikes' initial role was he needed help because there was two cars in tandem. And so Officer Fikes he's going to testify truthfully about what he did. He's going to talk about the Charger. And so the state feels that either the 2018 stop should not be discussed or it all should come in, because there is not, with the way that the facts and evidence are in this case and his involvement.
Yeah, I know my channel name is a bit long. I'm thinking about shortening it to just my name and then have the logo up there as, it's Nick Staro's Trial Watch. But to make it easier for my mods and everybody to, okay, it's that guy, the guy with the long hair, the Viking. So I am thinking about shortening it a bit, at least.
There is not a way and the rule of completeness, because if they're talking to him about something he did 30, 40 minutes into the stop, the jury is going to have no awareness, and it's fair to complete the story so the jury's not misinformed of how did Fikes even get to this scene? Why is he even here? Why is he talking to Officer Gant? How did he even get here? And he's talking to Officer Gant after he goes to the charger. And their analysis or investigative steps, or if the defense was crossing him about what they just referenced, the way he's thinking about things is all under the lens of just witnessing these firearms in a car. And he mentions the driver's foot was fidgety. And so it's all wrapped together in why he's coming to Gant, his whole viewpoint of the stop. And so the state just wanted to be clear with the court to make sure that the court's guidance, because the state doesn't feel that there is a universe where the door won't be opened. And the state feels that if Officer Fikes is questioned about the 2018 stop, then the state, to have the jury see a full picture of why Fikes is there, would be able to talk about everything he saw and did with that car, which goes into what we talked about yesterday, Your Honor.
Are you still not going to try and introduce the guns, right?
Your Honor, at this current time, the state was not intending to introduce anything with 2018 per your guidance.
Okay.
If Fikes discussed what he did, the state did have, and before the court's ruling yesterday, it's Exhibit X-ray. We had 5 photographs pertaining to the firearms, that the money and the marijuana that Officer Fikes and Officer Gant handled with that case. So the state would feel that if we're going to talk about it, if the door is opened, we would intend to introduce the photographs of those firearms. That is what Officer Fikes is testifying about and what he saw and witnessed.
Your Honor, the specific 2 things that I mentioned to the court have nothing to do with the contraband in the second vehicle.
Well, they do have, I mean, address this for me. He's got to be able to tell why it is it completes the picture in terms of why he was involved. He saw the weapons.
Now he's talking about Jeffrey Williams' car, and he's trying to get the officer Gant to upgrade Jeffrey Williams' charges so they can search Jeffrey Williams.
That's a totally separate issue, and I agree that goes to bias. Separate issue. But the state's trying to tell me, or the state's trying to just have me rule upon, is whether or not they get to complete the picture as to why Fikes is there to begin with.
Well, I mean, that's, first of all, the state has a little backwards. Gant makes a stop. Gant makes a request for additional officers to get to the location. Not just Fikes, a lot of other officers arrive at the location. And they're conducting their investigation. Gant is conducting the investigation in regards to the speeding ticket for Mr. Williams. The problem for them is that when Fikes comes up to talk to Gant, he's talking to him about Mr. Williams. When he asks him to mute his body camera, he's talking to him about Mr. Williams. When he asks him about upgrading charges, we're talking about Mr. Williams. We're not talking about, it doesn't matter why he's there.
My
analogy, I'm sorry. My analogy. Let's say we had an issue about Officer Fikes' general credibility and bias in how he conducts investigation. And there was another case, separate case, has nothing to do with it, where we have evidence that Officer Fikes has asked another officer to shut off their body cam, or has asked an officer to go ahead and upgrade charges on some defendants so that they could get in, they could search that defendant's car. That goes to that officer's credibility. Sure. It has nothing to do with this case. It has nothing to do with the reason that the person's there. It's just that officer's actions, right, that go to his credibility or his bias. And it shows obvious credibility and bias. I'm sure you can make that determination, but that doesn't open the door to allow them to talk about the second car, because we're not talking about it. We're talking about the second car or contraband that's found in the second car that has no connection or nexus to Mr. Williams. Okay.
Your Honor?
I still agree, Mr. Atkins. I still agree that it's not relevant.
Your Honor, you agree with the state's position?
No, I agree with the defense's position.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Sure.
OCGA 24-8-822, and I'm going to prevents litigants from
24-8 what?
24-8-822, Your Honor, prevents litigants from misleading the jury by presenting portions of prior statements taken out of context, and it is often essential in order to arrive at the true drift, intent, and meaning of what was said on the previous occasion. And the reason that's so salient, Your Honor, is that it's not just Officer Fikes being there. It's Officer Fikes. The information when he approaches Officer Gant is part and parcel of the firearm. So if he's crossed about, yes, Your Honor.
We covered this yesterday. It doesn't have a nexus. Stop trying to get into it. I'm still not convinced. So he shouldn't testify about why he was there. It's not relevant at this point in time, because what it does is invites and opens the doors to the weapons. So you're not gonna do that at this time.
Yes, Your Honor. And
What they're trying to assert is they're examining just on bias. That's it. On the 18 stop. I don't see any other reason at this point in time. I still have to, I understand what 24-8 does, 822 does, 822 does, but I'm still not convinced.
understood, Your Honor. After cross-examination, the state will, depending on how the testimony comes out, approach Your Honor before asking any questions related to that. If the state feels that the door has been opened.
Well, I'll be listening.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Is Officer Fikes here?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Let's go ahead and recall him, please.
Yeah, so finally, the judge puts down the foot against the prosecution. With the caveat, he is not allowing it in yet. He is still giving the chance to the prosecution. Find me something so I can allow it. Instead of, now you have two tries to get this in, and you have failed. Unless the defense opens the door, it's out. That should be the ruling. But the small wins are still small wins. The only thing that would have done this better if this was in front of the jury. Because so far, as you all know, if you watched me enough and this trial enough, the judge has only shouted at the defense in front of the jury. I wish he would level the playing field, but here we are. And now we will probably go into more direct examination of this police officer. And I think I'm going to...
Summon our jurors for us, please, Sergeant Ingram.
I believe I'm going to skip directly to cross-examination. Let's see what that is.
My handwriting on the front, and I can see it through the back of the bag.
Is that bag or the bag covered from defendant Williams' vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This cop is there to testify about the 2017 stop, not the 2018 stop, where they actually found some interesting stuff in Mr. Williams' car. But nothing new about that. So I'm going to skip ahead to the cross-examination. Let's see here. Oh, come on. Yeah, the swirl of doom. There you go.
Correct.
Okay, that's your testimony.
Yes, sir.
All right. What about the compartment in the back of the, I'd like to use some of their exhibits.
Defendant Williams' car. Recovered from the red and black bag with defendant Williams.
And I asked them if they could put those up on the screen as I request. Officer Fikes, I'd like to, the promethazine, the bottles and the guns and so forth, do you have the fingerprint analysis that shows Mr. Williams' fingerprints on those that I can publish to the jury?
No, sir. No, sir.
No? No fingerprints?
No, sir.
They never took fingerprints. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, this is from 2017 stop. And the person who was pleading to acknowledge it was his, pled to it, served his time, yada yada. And they still kept it as evidence. And since everybody in that trial from 2017, okay, now it's in evidence, you really don't need them around anymore. So yes, it's very interesting that they kept all that evidence until summer of 2021. So 4 years later, they still had that evidence in the storage. Don't know why.
The object of any investigation, when items of contraband are found, to determine who the contraband belongs to, right?
I'm not understanding what you're asking.
You don't understand that question?
No, sir. Can you rephrase it?
Sure. Let me break it down for you. When you have an investigation where contraband is found, and there are multiple people around the contraband, one of the things that you would want to do in your investigation is try to determine through your investigation who the contraband belongs to. Is that true?
Objection, Your Honor.
Cases.
Compound question.
I'll sustain this to form. Given the case established.
All right. If contraband is found, you do an investigation. True?
True.
And when you do that investigation, you're trying to find things out. True?
True.
Right. When contraband is found and there are multiple people around that contraband, your investigation is trying to find out who it belongs to. True?
True.
Okay. Now, I noticed that in a lot of the questions you answered about the items that were found in the vehicle, you answered, well, this is, for example, an item that was found in Mr. Williams's car. You remember replying to
Objection,
that?
Your Honor.
Cases.
It's a compound question.
No, it's not overruled.
You remember responding in that manner? This is an item that was found in Mr. Williams's car?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you did not answer this was an item that was found in a bag next to Cedric Jones. You never said that in any of your answers, did you?
No, sir.
But in fact, the items that you're referencing, the guns, the money, all of that, were found in bags in the back of the car, right?
Right.
Cedric Jones was the person in the back of the car, right?
Right.
Cedric Jones was in fact closer to the items than anybody else in the car. True?
That's not true.
It's not true?
No, the red and black bag was sitting dead center of the car. Any of them had access to it.
And ask you whether any of them had access to it. Cedric Jones is in the back seat of this Maybach, correct?
Correct.
The bag is in the middle of the back seat of the Maybach, right?
On the floorboard.
On the floorboard. And so your testimony to this jury is that Cedric Jones is not the one who was closest to that bag?
Correct.
How? Now, yeah, this police doesn't make sense because he already testified during direct examination where he found the actual goods. And now he's being cross-examined about these goods. And that one particular item, he claims that, no, he was not the closest. And why does he do that? Yes, because it was so much forward on the floorboard that the person in the passenger seat may or may not have been physically closest. That's sneaky, but very apparent to me. And hello, everybody from M&M Red. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this day's. We are in cross-examination of Officer Gant, I think. I've never read it from McKinley's channel before. We do, what do we call? I think M&Ms. I mean, Broken Baker said it's M&M raid. I mean, my chat shows what they call themselves. So when I redirect to another channel, it's a Viking raid. So it's all up to you who follow McKinley what you call yourself. We try to suggest things that are more appropriate, but usually it's all up to you what you call yourself. T-boners, okay. M&Ms or T-boners. Let McKinley have a vote on her page. Now, we are about a traffic stop in 2017. The same thing they argued about yesterday, where they actually found contraband inside Mr. Williams' car. Here's the thing. The person in the back seat of that car told the cops, it's my stuff. And subsequently, only he was tried for it. And yeah. And that person, by the way, who was convicted or took a plea deal for those contraband, he is not in this trial. But welcome everybody to the crap show. I will try to make this at around 2 hours. Because today, so much worthless stuff argued in court. Hey, McKinley here. You need to have a vote on your channel what your subscribers and viewers should call themselves. So far, we have suggestions are T-boners or the M&Ms. Oh, but we are here now for the young Thug RICO-trial. Yay! And by the way, no, I don't speak Dutch or the Netherlands. I can read and understand most of it, but no, I don't speak it. I speak Swedish, English, German. I speak, if I can get retrained in it, I can speak some Russian. And then if you count the other Scandinavian countries, yes, I speak and understand at least Norwegian. For you who don't know, how the heck did you do that? I sat as a documents analyst in the European Union for 3 years. I had to learn to read different languages. But we are here for the young Thug RICO-trial.
Okay, that's your testimony.
Yes, sir.
All right. What about the compartment in the back of the on the back seat? Right, there's a pull down that you talked about. Who was closest to that?
Cedric.
Okay. Now the items that you found back there, though, when you were asked about them, you didn't say, "Oh, the items that were closest and most accessible."
Yeah, and on occasions I get the swirl of doom.
Cedric Jones. He didn't answer that one.
I was asked if those were the items that were found in Jeffrey Williams' car, and I answered yes.
Right, but in some of your answers, you specifically took it upon yourself to make sure you referenced that these are the items found in Mr. Williams' car. Isn't that true?
Objection, Your Honor. Basis. Argumentative and inferring what the witness intended.
Oh, John Cross.
That's
Yes.
true? Okay. Now, this is 2017 when this incident occurred, right?
Right.
It's about 6 plus years ago. Is that right?
Correct.
September 24th, 2017, right?
Right.
Your testimony is that you're a Brookhaven police officer at that time, right?
Right.
You had been a police officer for some time by then.
Correct.
How long has you been a police officer by the time 2017 rolled around?
Probably 11 years.
11 years you've been a police officer in South Carolina.
No, hold on. Yeah, probably 11 years.
11 years, South Carolina, right?
Right.
Was it Anderson
Anderson.
and Gwinnett County?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so here you are in Brookhaven in 2017. It is about what, 7:09 p.m.?
If you want me to look at my report, I can give you the time, but I don't recall what time it was. It was in the evening.
You were heading to dinner?
Correct.
Okay. But you were on duty.
Right.
Okay. So you're heading to dinner, and this is an area that you patrol, right?
Right.
This is near the PDK, Peachtree DeKalb Airport, right?
Right.
Private airport, or owned by a municipality, right?
It's a private airport. I don't know who owns it.
It's not Hartsfield.
Correct.
Right? Okay. Private jets and planes land at that airport, right?
Right.
Private jets and planes take off from that airport.
Right.
Any entertainers, sports figures, private individuals use that airport to come and go from. True?
Objection, Your Honor. Basis. Speculating who comes out.
Yeah, the prosecution. Oh, he's speculating. Meanwhile, when the shoe is on the foot, it's allowed. Even though this is cross-examination where you are allowed to lead or even speculate at some time. And yeah, for you in the chat who wonder what we are talking about, that isn't a trial. The Israeli embassy, they found a grenade near it that was probably thrown towards it. It never exploded, but they found it. The Swedish bomb squad went there, isolated it, and blew it up. It was either a dud or a false grenade, but either way, it's done as a terrorist act, and that area around the Israeli embassy is heavily surveyed. So they are just collecting the camera footage to see when it was thrown and take it to isolate the time, and then who or from what vehicle or whatever, and then go from there. But everybody is okay. Everybody is okay.
That airport.
I stand objection.
Do you know? Do you know whether or not this is an airport that's used by celebrities, sports figures, private individuals?
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis.
Relevant.
I stand objection.
It shouldn't be sustained, because that goes to show why Mr. Williams was driving to that airport. But here we are.
There's more than one entrance to the airport, right?
There's one main entrance to the airport. I don't know if the other ones are all limited access like the one they first turned into.
Is from Ayanna Davis. I guess I'm not clear on speculating and leading. How do you determine when it's appropriate or not? And because it seems like the judge's discretion, how can this be allowed or not? It is up to the judge to determine. There are statutes, laws, everything is written down. But in this courtroom, it is the judge who decides what is sustained and what is overruled. And in my opinion, it's kind of one-sided towards the prosecution. And yeah, objecting to relevance, yeah, that is rich. This is cross, yeah. Leading is allowed, yes, it should be. It's still up to the judge's discretion.
Okay, the one with limited access is limited access, but it's an entrance to the airport, right?
Right.
And then there's another entrance, right?
Right.
So there's more than one entrance to the airport, true?
True.
Okay. So September 24th, 2017, you're on, was it Claremont that you're on?
Correct.
All right. Can I have the state please put up what I think is marked as their State's Exhibit 1 Lima. I think it's 1 Lima. 1, the map of the DeKalb Peachtree Airport. All right. Judge, do you mind if I step close to the witness and the
No.
screen?
No.
So got that pointer with you over there?
Right here.
Bring right that pointer, if you don't mind. All right. Does this map show where you were at the time you first saw the vehicle?
Just barely. I was right here in your Bragg in Claremont.
Okay, let's try exhibit number 2, please. All right, how about that one?
Yes, sir. Right here.
All right. Go ahead, point again and keep the point up there. Is that where you were?
I was traveling in the left lane going northbound.
Okay, that's on Claremont Road, right?
Correct.
All right, do me a favor also, while your back is turned, I want to make sure that Madam
I already heard
Court
this,
can hear you. Keep
but
going.
it's really, oh, for frick's sake. This is really, really interesting. I need to fill up with coffee, so I'm just leaving you with listening to this because this cross-examination is good.
Up a bit, please. And then also folks in the back there can hear you. All right, so you're on Claremont, and show us where you first see the vehicle.
It was somewhere right in this intersection, right about this area.
Okay, was it heading towards you?
No, I was traveling northbound and they were traveling northbound in the right-hand lane.
Okay, so that you were behind the vehicle.
No,
No?
they're in the right-hand lane. I was in the left-hand lane.
Okay, were you in front of them or were you behind them?
I was beside them.
You were beside them. Okay, and at some point, do they pull ahead of you or do you pull ahead of them?
They pulled ahead of me.
Okay, and where did they go?
Where did they go?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go to the next slide.
Okay, well, let's stay there for a while. Okay, so it's about a little after 7 on the 24th. It's September, but if I remember your testimony correctly, it was still light out, right?
Right.
Okay. You can still see. I mean, it's still daylight.
Right.
Hadn't gotten dark yet.
No.
Okay. What you indicated was that you noticed that this car next to you, and you can see a reflection in one of the windows of the car. So it said
And the windows.
the windows of the car.
Right.
One window, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that's what you drew your attention to the vehicle, is that right?
Correct.
All right. So we got let's see, we got States 3 up there. Does that show us where you are and where the vehicle went after you first saw it?
You're. No, it needs to go up one more.
Okay. Let's see. Let's try 5.
That shows it
Okay, there we go.
right here.
All right. So the vehicle is traveling north,
North.
okay, on Claremont, right?
Yes.
And you see them turn into where that blue arrow is, right?
I see them turn into this entrance right here.
Okay. You were behind the vehicle at that time.
Yes.
Okay. And you are still traveling where, in the left lane?
In the left one.
Okay. And at that point, you have already noticed that according to your testimony anyway, that you can see a reflection in the windows of the car, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'll go ahead and have a seat for a second. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Let's leave that up there for right now. I got a couple of questions about that. Now, when you were testifying yesterday, you indicated
Thank you so much. Yes, I deeply appreciate everybody who gives me a chance to guide you through this trial. And you do that by thumbs up and subscribing. If you choose to be active in the chat, amazing. If you, on top of that, chooses, hey, this guy is good, let's give him a membership. That's $3 a month. and you get access to all the members-only content you could ever dream of, and also access to my Discord. But let's start slow. I'm very, very happy with you just being here, being a viewer. The rest is a bonus. Thank you so much, Brent.
That you noticed this window tint, but you didn't blue light or pull the car over right away, right?
No.
You actually watched the car for a while, according to your testimony yesterday, right?
Yes.
You indicated that you didn't blue light or pull the car over because you were waiting for an NCIC response. Isn't that right?
Correct.
Now, the truth is, though, that when you first saw the vehicle, right, and it went past you, you ran the tag right away, didn't you?
Correct.
That was the first thing that you did.
This is common practice for me.
Didn't have to, if it was common practice. That's what you did. That's the first thing you did, right?
Yes.
Okay. So by the time the car is going forward and turning into the airport, have you already gotten the hit back that who
Probably
the car
so.
belongs to?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when the car comes out, does it at this point head towards you?
No, it came out and turned left and went south on Claremont Road
Okay. And where are you at that point?
in the turn lane.
Okay. You're just sitting in a turning lane, right?
Right.
Okay. Lights off, lights on.
My headlights or my blue lights?
Your headlights.
They were on auto, so I don't know if they were on or not.
Okay. And so the car travels away from you, right?
Yes.
And do you follow the car at that point?
No.
Okay. What do you do?
I watched it in my mirror for a minute. I saw they were turning on their brake lights several times, so I pulled off on 9th Street.
Okay. Car wasn't speeding, right?
No, I don't know. I don't have radar in my car.
Car didn't appear to be speeding, right?
No,
The car wasn't committing any traffic violations, right?
not at that time. No,
Okay.
other than the window tint.
All right. They had just come out of, and you said earlier, you pull over folks for window tint all the time, don't you?
Correct.
It wouldn't have had anything whatsoever to do with the fact that you saw 3 black guys in a Maybach, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection?
I sustain the objection.
Your Honor, the state asked the question yesterday as to whether or not he knew the race of the individuals in the vehicle.
Objection, sir. What's your basis?
What's the basis for my objection?
No, I'm gonna sustain the objection.
And here he goes again, back to his old self. The prosecution just objects. No basis. And yeah. So on yesterday's, he was asked a question by the state if he saw the race of the people inside the car. Which he said yes, because front window apparently not tinted. I don't. Something in his answers yesterday was yes, but the defense. Now I understand it's not proper for some reason for the defense to phrase it differently, but the judge isn't having it.
All right. I don't need a speaking response, Mr. Adams. Go on.
Thanks, Judge. Okay. You at some point turned on your blue lights, right?
Yes.
Car pulled over,
Yes.
and it responded right away, right? Car didn't take off or anything like that, just pulled over.
Right.
You get out your car and you go up to the vehicle. You go up on the passenger side, right?
Right.
And maybe I heard you wrong. You testified yesterday that you knocked on the rear quarter panel of the vehicle and the back window rolled down.
The back passenger window rolled down.
Right. But in fact, the front passenger window is the one that rolled down first, right?
No.
No?
No. The
Okay.
back passenger window rolled down first.
You didn't put in your report that you wrote that the first window to go down was the front passenger window?
I don't believe so.
You need to refresh your memory?
Sure.
You got your report in front of you?
Sure.
Take a look at it.
Dun dun dun. Maybe this officer should have refreshed his recollection before he testified.
read it to yourself. If it helps refresh your memory, when you're done, just go ahead and look up for me.
Lynn Dalton, member for 6 months. Member for longer, but I sleep sometimes. Yay! Yeah, I know. You have been a member for longer than that. But thank you so much for being here. And Scott McInnes, member for 1 month. This prosecution is a campaign ad for the district attorney. Yes, and I have said this on many occasions. Fannie Willis, district attorney, is going for attorney general when that election is going on in the end of this year or beginning of next year. And she won't get elected on normal crimes or normal trials like assaults or essays or stuff like that. She wants to be the RICO prosecutor of Georgia. And so this is her personal political platform. Thank you all for being members for so long. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's correct. The front passenger window rolled down.
All right. And then you were on the passenger side, right?
Right.
So roll down. And then the other window was rolled down also, right?
They rolled it down after.
Okay. And so you're able to see inside the car at that point, right?
At which point?
At the point that you're standing on the side of the car.
I couldn't see in the car once. When
Sorry.
My apologies. Go
I
ahead.
didn't get, no, I didn't get.
Yeah, for me. At the time when you're on the passenger side of the car, sir, and either the front end or the rear passenger windows roll down, are you able to look into the car at that point?
yeah, that's what I was trying to clarify. Once the back window rolled down, I could see in the car.
All right. And let's see, Cedric Jones sitting.
Oh, I was just trying to clarify. Sure you did.
In the back with some Kentucky Fried Chicken
Right.
bag or box or something, right?
Yes.
All occupants of the car in there eating some food?
I don't think any of them were eating it.
Okay.
I mean,
So
I don't-
Kentucky Fried Chicken bag.
Yes.
All right. There came a point where you had all three individuals to exit out of the vehicle. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. I can have the state to go ahead and put up their 16 Lima. Oh, let's say 16.
This is brave from this attorney, showing them on the ground while questioning the arresting officer. It's brave. It's somewhat dangerous because it all goes to who does the jury perceive as the bad guy? The guys sitting there or the guy arresting them or charging them? So it's brave. I don't think I would have done it, but I'm not in that courtroom.
Is that 16 or is that 15? Okay, what? I'm looking for the picture of Mr. Williams. 16. All right, yeah. All right. That's Mr. Williams, right?
Yes.
Okay, he's individual.
He was so skinny back then, compared to the man we are seeing in the courtroom today. That's jailhouse food for you. Jailhouse food and no exercise, and you gain a few pounds.
was in the front passenger seat of the car, right?
Right.
Right. He was made to get out of the car and sit right there on the pavement, right?
Yes.
And that's how he looked on that day, true?
Yes.
What's his shirt say?
Fear of God.
Say it again?
Fear of God.
Fear of God. Okay. All right. So he's sitting on the curb. Mr. Jones is sitting on the curb, correct?
Right.
And Mr. Kitchens is also sitting on the curb. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. At some point, you go into the vehicle and you search the car.
Right.
You found in the Mr. Kitchens, by the way, was driving the car, right?
Right.
And by the way, all of these things that you're observing, keep that picture up, please. I got some more questions I want to ask about it. All of these things that you're observing become part of your investigation, right?
Yes.
And so one of the things that you notice is that in this vehicle, that by this time you know is registered to Mr. Williams.
Right.
How about, is it registered to Mr. Williams or is it registered to Mr. Williams' company?
It said Jeffrey Lamar Williams.
Okay. And so by this point, you know that this car is registered to Jeffrey Williams, right?
Right.
But you also know that it's not being driven by Jeffrey Williams, true?
True.
You know that he's a passenger in a car,
Right.
just like Mr. Jones is a passenger in a car.
Right.
You don't have at this point, any personal knowledge whatsoever about anything that's going on in the car or any of the contents of the car. True?
True.
Okay. You find what you identified as in the front seat as some, I think you call these a shake or what you thought to be marijuana residue on the floorboard of the front driver's area, right?
Right.
Okay. You find the Sprite bottle. This is state 62L. You find the Sprite bottle on the floorboard, right?
Right.
Front floorboard.
Front passenger floorboard.
Front passenger floorboard.
Right.
Everything else, well, on Jeffrey Williams, you take what, $2,924 that he had in his pockets.
Again, I had to look at my reports, find the exact number.
Sounds about right.
Roughly. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Everything else you find in the back of the car, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm jump forward a bit. All right, so stay with me and then come back. You ultimately ended up taking out warrants. You can take the picture down. Ultimately ended up taking out warrants, right, for Mr. Jones, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Kitchens. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw this. What the F is marijuana residue? Let me put it this way. If I could, if I was allowed, which nobody will be, I would put the marijuana residue on a piece of paper and cigar residue on a piece of paper and ask the cop which is which. It's more or less the ashes from a former blunt. It's so, yeah, it's so stupid.
You charged Mr. Jones, Mr. Williams with possession of the items that you found in the car, correct?
Right.
Including the gun.
Right.
Now, I want to ask you a question about the guns first. Now, the guns were found in a backpack, one of the backpacks in the back seat, right?
There was one gun in each bag.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the one that you ran and ultimately ended up coming back as a stolen gun. Which one was the one that came back stolen?
The FN.
The FN? That's this one, right?
Yep.
Okay. And by the way, we saw some pictures a little bit earlier, right, of these bullets that were in. Okay, so this is states 60L, labeled as FN bullets, 31 of them, right?
Right.
Where were these bullets? Were they actually in the gun?
They were in the gun.
All of them?
I believe so.
Gun holds 31 bullets?
The magazine.
Okay, all right. So although we have them here separated, I mean, what you actually have is a gun, and the gun had bullets, right?
Right.
All right, now. You were actually able, and with the court's permission, if I may approach the witnesses, put this in front of them.
Yes, you may, sir.
Okay. So this is the
You're
FS.
showing what exhibit number you're showing.
Oh, and thank you, Judge. I'm showing him what's been marked as State's Exhibit 59L, 59 Lima. All right. So we got 59 Lima. That's the gun that you ran that came back as a stolen weapon, correct?
Right.
It was found in a bag, right?
Right.
On the backseat of the vehicle.
Right.
Next to Cedric Jones.
Right.
Okay. It had a serial number on it.
Right.
Serial number wasn't scratched off.
No.
Right. There is nothing that looking at this gun tells you that it is a stolen gun. True?
True.
You got to run the number.
Right.
You have to run the number to see that it had been a gun stolen at some point out of
East Point.
East Point. Okay. The other gun containing State's Exhibit 58L. This is a 9mm. Court's permission again to approach the witness.
You may, sir.
This is a 9mm found in the other bag, right?
Right.
Next to Cedric Jones, right?
Right.
Not stolen, just a gun.
Right.
Who's that belong to? Is it registered to anyone?
In Georgia, we don't get guns registered to you.
Okay. Did you get any records that indicate who was sold to or anything like that?
Yeah, at some point I would have had to know because I got the warrants and it would have said who it was registered to.
So you knew at some point.
At some point, yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you something about both of these guns, and with court permission, one more time. I'm putting both in front.
Actually, that's the one that I would have known at some point because I would have called East Point to figure out the owner.
Okay. What about
This one I wouldn't have known because it's not stolen.
And by this one, I'm referring to the 9mm.
Right.
All right. So I got both of these in front of you. Now, you are a police officer, right?
Right.
Investigator.
Right.
Well-trained investigator. Right.
Yeah.
At what point were these guns, because you can obtain evidence from guns, right?
What kind of evidence?
Biological, forensic evidence, something that tells you who
I
handled
can't
the
know.
guns.
I can't find that out. No.
You have the ability to have it done, true?
True.
You have the ability to, I'm not trying to trick you. You have the ability to send it off either to the crime lab or somewhere to, for example, have it checked for fingerprints. You can do that.
Yeah, but it's not common practice.
Okay.
For just a stolen gun, for us, it's not a common practice unless it's using a violent crime or something.
You can do that, right?
We could.
Okay. Before we move on to that, any indication that either these guns, bullets, anything tied to any sort of violent crime?
No.
Right. So let's get back to what you can do as an investigator, right? To kind of tell you who may have handled the gun. You can have it checked for fingerprints, right?
We could.
Did you do that?
No.
Okay.
Never checked it for fingerprints.
You can have it tested, swabbed, whatever, for the presence of sweat or any other sort of biological information that might tell you who may have handled the gun. That can be done, true?
It can't be.
Did you have that done?
No.
They never tested for fingerprints, for DNA, for anything. Now, it's in a car with 3 people. It's one of theirs. And one of them said, it's mine.
You are not able, as you sit here today, 2024, from back in 2017 to now, you can't tell this jury that you have any knowledge whatsoever, any personal knowledge, any records, anything that tells you who handled those guns.
No, like I said, it's not common practice to get that done unless they're using a violent crime.
I understand that. The bottom line is, if we're trying to tell this jury that there's information about who handled these guns, you don't have any of that information.
No.
So we know we have two guns in two bags, respectively, in the backseat of a car next to Cedric Jones. We know that.
Right.
Now, there was who's Mona Kalai?
I have no idea other than her name was on a prescription bottle.
Okay, so there was a prescription. One of the prescription bottles that was found in the car actually had a name on it, right?
Right.
Seems to indicate that it was prescribed to a person, right?
Right.
A person named Mona Kalai, K-A-L-A-Y-E, right?
Right.
All right. At what point did you reach out to Mona Kalai to find out if that was her prescription or what her prescription was doing in the back of that car? When did you do that?
I didn't.
Okay. So similar to guns, right? One of the things as you conduct an investigation that you might want to do when you have contraband and multiple people around it is you might want to investigate to see if you can determine who handled a particular item of contraband, right?
Right.
All right. So we've got two bottles in State's Exhibit 63L, right?
Yep.
These were items that were found, what were these?
In the middle console compartment of the back seat.
Middle console right next to or behind Cedric Jones?
That would have been right next to him.
Okay. They're in a plastic bag now. Obviously, they weren't in a plastic bag then. This is an evidence bag, right?
Right.
The bottles were here as they are inside of this bag, right?
They weren't in that bag.
They were out,
Right.
clear, right?
Yeah.
All right. These were seized, correct?
Yes.
And they're plastic, which means that if you handle them, there's the possibility you may leave fingerprints, sweat, something, biological fluid, something on the bottles, right?
Right.
All right. Now, tell the jury at what point, in an effort to determine who actually handled these bottles, who might have been in possession of them, tell the jury when you sent them off to the crime lab or wherever to have them analyze for fingerprints.
I didn't.
All right. So 2017, found the bottles. We're in 2024. You cannot tell this jury that you have any information about who handled the bottles based on any investigation you did, right?
It's not needed because it's illegal to be in. And if you don't have a prescription for that medication, it's illegal to be in possession of it.
Sure. But if I'm in a car with someone else, and that person is the one who is in possession of and is holding and handling the contraband, you would want to know that it's that person who's been handling and holding it as opposed to me, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So let me just ask a question. You didn't bother to have any fingerprint analysis done on any of these?
No.
Not that you couldn't, you just didn't.
It wasn't needed. Again, like I said, it's illegal to be in possession of medicine that's not prescribed to you.
Could you have sent the bottles off to be analyzed to see who handled them?
I could have, but it wasn't necessary
You could have. You did not. True?
because it wasn't necessary.
How do you know that that was the actual pills that were the drug then? He's assuming that every pill in that car was there illegally. Because he knows that. He doesn't need to test it. He doesn't need to get evidence to it. Because he knows. He has a nose. He saw MJ residue. He knows he doesn't have to test anything.
You haven't answered that question, are you?
No, I said I could have, but it wasn't necessary.
And the question was, did you?
No.
All right. State 64 Lima. 2 pill bottles. Same question. No analysis done using fingerprints or biological fluid.
No.
Like that, right? No?
No.
I want to show you where, by the time this occurred in 2017, you've been a police officer for what, 11 years?
About 11 years.
What was your rank?
An officer.
Officer? Okay. Was that before or after you were awarded Officer of the Year?
After.
So you'd already been awarded Officer of the Year for your investigative skills in policing prior to this date, right?
I got awarded officer of the.
Congratulations. Here's your placard for stopping the most tinted windowed cars. Congratulations. Yes, snark.
Year because I got shot in the line of duty, not for skills.
Okay. Time-wise, right? You were awarded Officer of the Year,
Mhm.
and you had all this investigative background by the time this incident occurred in 2017. True?
Right.
All right.
You got Officer of the Year for being injured in the job. Okay. I'm very sorry that he was injured during his line of duty, but I didn't know you could get Officer of the Year for that. Yeah, the lead detective in the Travis Rudolph case was also awarded Officer of the Year. And if you saw that trial, holy crap, that person shouldn't be near an investigation.
All right.
And then they go on a break. And since they started late, no morning break, this is lunch break. That should have been an hour, but wasn't. Now they are having a hearing about evidence. If the swirl of doom can stop doing that. Oh, come on, swirl of doom. Yeah, sometimes this happens. Here's what I will do. I will. Oh, there it is.
Put out that a substance is negative for any controlled substances or.
Yeah, okay. This is medical. No, not a medical. This is a tester just testifying about how they test. I almost fell asleep when I listened to this, so I will spare you this one. And then the judge allowed in what she testified about now in writing. Ah, Welsh lady, thank you for becoming a member. You now have access to all the members-only content, which is more about me, more about the farm, more about, stuff, so we get to know each other. So you know who exactly I am, or what I am prepared to share. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so first he testified about it, and then they were allowed to bring in this, which was more or less her repeating her testimony, but now with this. And it was so dull. So let's get to the cross-examination. If the swirl of doom... I will try to change from mobile from router to mobile internet. See if that helps. If I can... Oh, there it is. I will blink for a second. And I'm back, I think. Let's try to play it again.
All right. If I heard you correctly, you're the GBI, and you are in the chemistry section.
Yes,
The GBI has several different sections, to use that word, correct?
correct.
You talked earlier about you being a drug chemist at one point,
Yes,
and you talked about the forensic chemistry portion of the GBI.
yes.
Now, in addition, I want to talk to you about what you did specifically in this case, but I want to also ask you some questions about the GBI crime lab itself and what it can do.
Okay.
Different agencies, different law enforcement agencies have the ability, and in fact do, send different things to the GBI crime lab for testing. Is that true?
Yes,
For example, you may have a case that involves some sort of sexual issue, and then they may send forensic buccal swabs or for DNA testing, that sort of thing.
yes,
Right. The GBI crime lab has the ability, for example, to test items for the presence of biological substances on those items. Is that true?
yes, I believe so.
Okay. And so hypothetically, if I had a bottle, right, and I wanted to test it to see whether or not there was the presence of sweat, saliva, anything like that on it, it can be sent to the GBI crime lab, right?
Again, I can only speak to the drug chemistry part, but yes, there are items that are submitted for other types of testing.
I mean, that is something, maybe not where you work, but that's certainly something the GBI crime lab can and does do and does. Yes.
Yes, there are other sections in the crime lab that perform other testing.
Okay. Now, do you know when these items came to you, do you know whether or not they had gone to any other portion of the GBI crime lab before they came to you?
I do not believe so.
Okay. Do you know?
From what I can see in the case file, no.
Okay, just to you, right? As far as you know.
As far as I'm aware.
Apparently, Swirl of Doom
Yes.
continues.
As far as you know, there's
Let's see here.
no other testing was required of any of these or requested of any of these items that came to you, right?
I have to answer your objection.
Oh,
Of the items that I tested, yes, they solely came to me.
Okay. Now, if I can have the state's indulgence, I think their exhibit was labeled 73 Lima or Lima. And if I can have you put that up on the screen, please. All right. Ms. Scott, can you see it right there on the screen next to you?
Yes,
All right. This is the front page of your report, correct?
correct.
And to be fair, your report essentially is just a synopsis of everything that you did and the results of your testing, right?
Yes,
You were asked a little while ago where these items came from, what police department, and you were able to identify that it was the Brookhaven Police Department that sent it to you, right?
yes, that is who submitted it to the lab.
Came from D. Fikes, that's the person who requested the testing, right?
That was the person listed on the submission form and the evidence.
And the case individuals who are listed here, two people, Cedric Jones, Jeffrey Williams, correct?
Yes, that is who was on the submission form and the evidence.
Right. Now, you don't know anything about the persons listed as the case individuals. You just know that that's what the officer put on the submission form, right?
Correct.
Right. You are not able to tell this jury anything about the involvement with any of these items by either Cedric Jones or Jeffrey Williams, correct?
That's correct.
The only thing that you know essentially is that there's some items that are sent to you, you're asked to test them, and you're asked to say what they are, right?
Yes,
And while the GBI crime lab and your ability to test can do several things, it cannot tell you, your testing does not tell you who any of these items belong to. True?
yes, my testing only determines what substances, if any, are present in a sample.
There is nothing about your testing or your finding out that, for example, let's see, 003A, right? That's the bottle of liquid that tested for, it was positive for the presence of codeine. Right?
Correct.
That's what you know. There's nothing about your testing that tells you who used that, if anyone used it, or who was in possession of it, correct?
Yes, I don't know where the item came from.
Codeine is what? Is that a painkiller?
Yes, so codeine, it does have pain relieving properties.
Codeine is found in, painkiller tablets, Tylenol, stuff like that.
Yes, so codeine is found in multiple different preparations, both tablets and liquid.
It is a legal substance, but it has to be prescribed. True?
Yes,
All right. Same thing with amphetamines and methamphetamines. They are stimulants, right?
correct.
They are found in a variety of different drugs. ADHD medication.
Yes, there are a couple of pharmaceuticals that contain either amphetamine or methamphetamine.
They are legal substances, but they got to be prescribed, right?
Yes,
Okay. Alprazolam. Am I pronouncing that right?
yes,
Okay.
Alprazolam, yeah.
One name or one Xanax. You find alprazolam in Xanax. right?
Yes, alprazolam is the primary ingredient in Xanax tablets.
Which is is that an antidepressant? Is that what that is?
Yes,
Okay. Again, a legal substance, but it has to be prescribed.
correct.
This was submitted to you, if I'm looking at this correctly, on December the 11th of 2017. That's when the laboratory received this item, right?
Yes,
You completed your testing and it looks like you issued a report somewhere on or about February the 9th of 2018.
correct.
Okay. Have you ever worked in any other division of the crime lab other than the chemistry division or the forensic chemistry division?
No, I haven't.
So it is fair to say, and again, thank you for your testimony, but what you're able to tell this jury is that these items came to you and this is what they tested positive for in terms of what was in the items, right?
Yes,
Okay. And again, nothing in regards to, you can't tell the jury anything other than that, who they belong to, where they came from, anything like that.
correct.
I believe that's all I have.
Any further examination? Briefly, Scott.
I'll Spikes. Welcome back.
Jesus, I was muted. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, I was skipping ahead because redirect, completely boring, completely unnecessary. Then Officer Fights is back on the stand and cross-examination. I know. I have my boomer moments. I do. I still have my boomer moments.
Question. When we left off, we were talking, as I recall, about the charges that you took out in this case. And I am correct, am I not, that you charged Mr. Williams and Mr. Jones with possession of the substances that were found in that car, right?
Correct.
In fact, you went to a DeKalb County magistrate and you swore out warrants, and by swearing out warrants, you requested that warrants be issued for possession of controlled substances, possession with intent to distribute, right?
Right.
Okay. And theft by receiving, is that right?
Right.
Okay. I asked you, and I think your response was that you did not find any information that you thought warranted there being any gang charges in the case. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. You did not find any information that suggested to you, as the investigator, that these items found in this car was part and parcel of any sort of racketeering conspiracy.
No, sir.
And just to be clear, I mean, you can take out warrants for whatever you think the evidence leads to, right?
Whatever I could prove to the judge at the time I'm getting the warrants issued.
There you go. And you have not. Since 2017, we're 6+ years past that, you've not done any additional, you've not taken out any additional charges in regards to this incident, true?
No.
Now, before you came in here to testify, am I correct that you would have sat down with the DA's office and told them everything you know about this case?
Prior to me testifying, yes.
Yes. You would have told them about everything that you found, right?
Right.
And you would have told them about all the circumstances that led to your making the arrest of Mr. Jones, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Kitchens, right?
Right.
Okay. Did you tell them when you met with them that, hey, you all are free to do whatever you want to, but I didn't take out any gang charges? Did you tell them that? Or did they already know?
No. I didn't take out the gang charges and they already knew that.
One moment, if I may, Judge.
Yes.
Yeah, again, cross-examination is good. That's the only interesting today is the cross-examinations. That's the only interesting thing in the entire day. Because if you've been here more than an hour of another day, you already know how bad the prosecution is and how utterly boring it is to listen to them. That's why I'm condensing this to the cross-examination, because you will find out from the defense lawyers this. You were asked this from the state, yes, and then they go through it in a much more interesting way. So that is why I'm skipping ahead a bit and just playing the cross-examination.
All right. You know, I may have been mistaken, so I'm gonna have you maybe educate me on this or remind me of this. When Mr. Williams was asked to get out of the car by you, you certainly had the opportunity to observe what he was wearing, right?
Yes.
Colors, what he was wearing.
Right.
We may need to put that picture up, but of your own memory, you recall him having like a blue, was his shirt blue or what?
I don't remember. I think it was dark blue or black.
Okay, let's see.
I'd have to look at the picture.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that 16L again, please.
Yeah, isn't that weird? The prosecution has alleged for over a month now. Oh, they are associated with the Bloods. They are wearing red because they are with the Bloods. Ooh, spooky, spooky. But here on this traffic stop, ta-da! It's so, yeah, it's infuriating. It's angrily stupid what the prosecution alleges, with experts and testimony and whatever's, and all of a sudden the defense comes in. Well, look at this, he's wearing blue. Ta-da! It's so stupid.
Dark blue or black shirt, light blue. Writing, the fear of God is in light blue.
Looks white to me.
That was white to you?
Looks white to me.
Okay. Color's the shirt.
Either dark blue or black.
All right. Let's see 15L, please. Mr. Kitchens. All right, that's Mr. Kitchens you took out and told to sit on the curb, right?
Right.
Wearing a black hoodie,
Correct.
camouflage pants, it looks like.
Yes.
Okay. 14L, please. Mr. Jones. Blue hoodie, blue or black hoodie, right?
Black hoodie. Yep.
Blue shirt underneath,
Correct.
red bandana.
Yes, sir.
Oh, pants you wearing? I know you can't tell from this picture.
No.
You remember?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to 16L. Did I hear you say that at some point after you decided you were going to arrest Mr. Williams, that his jewelry was released
That's correct.
to his who's the person I don't know your name. Who's the person you released him to? Is it his manager?
I think a cameraman or something. I don't know.
Did you understand that person to be his manager?
No, I think, like I said, I think he said it was a camera guy.
A camera person. Okay. All right.
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. During the prosecution's direct examination, they passed around the bags with the bullets, the pills, and the rubber bands that was around the money. And that is because the money, guess what? It was returned to Mr. Williams because it wasn't evidence, because the charges was dropped against him. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. They are bringing in another case where the charges was dropped against Mr. Williams. Exactly, Mads. It was not considered drug money. You can't make this up. You really can't. You really can't.
Second judge.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, mister.
It's really good here that they kept up the picture of Mr. William not wearing red and have fear of God and a cross. It was a bold choice by this attorney, but I think the message came through.
Atkins, any other examination? Okay. Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Recross. Let's see here. And no sound. Because Law and Seaward camera crew is not clever. And after that little break, it's time to argue about evidence again, if I remember correctly. But it's still interesting. Yeah, deposited, but it ultimately was released back to Mr. Williams. The break was longer.
Can you come up for a second?
And as I don't count this as an actual sidebar because he only asked the prosecution up. Unless... No. Jury is called in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, jury. Let me tell you where we are at this point in time. We have a little more work that we need to do, and it doesn't require you sitting in your headquarters waiting on us, okay? And given the length and the hour of the day, it's 4 o'clock, we'll just take up that business and send you home, okay, for the evening. So unless you just want to stay here till late in the evening, what do you say? Okay, apparently not. Okay, all right, just want to make sure, all right, okay, so.
Yeah, so the jury sat through lunch, then a bit of an argument. They sat through that break. They sat through a little bit of bantering and another break, just to get back and being told, you can go home. Everything, these arguments about evidence and testimony and what's allowed in or not, that should have been done pre-trial. But this judge, and you know it, over and over and over again, he pushes things forward. He allows the prosecution to get in new things. He allows the prosecution to extend the witness list instead of trimming it down as he ordered them to do. This, when they scheduled this trial to last 6 months, that was full trial days. I removed the direct examination because completely unnecessary and completely boring, and yeah. An hour and 37 minutes, and now for the final 2 hours, they are going to argue about jury instructions, they're going to argue about some evidence, and stuff like that. That's it. That's the entirety of today's trial day. I started my stream at 4:30 in the afternoon, your time. And I covered it all. That was remotely interesting in an hour and a half. Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you, Gigi. Yeah, I have decided. Oh, sorry. Let's do this one. I have started a secondary channel. It has nothing to do with trials. It has to do with old Scandinavian stories and sagas. So far I only created the channel, and I will record a prequel that explains a little bit about Scandinavian folklore, stories, and sagas. And when I find the time, I will start to read in stories like, from, among others, this book, Swedish Folk and Fairy Tales, and stuff like that. And I've ordered a few more books on that subject. So but that's secondary. I will still. Will always be my main channel, always. But yeah, I'm as surprised as you are that I did all of this. I thought I would cover it in about 2 hours. I covered it all everything remotely interesting from today in an hour and a half. So it's and you heard me before what I think of this damn trial, and the prosecution's case is extremely weak, but the Georgia RICO Act is so broad and so vague. They don't need to do anything more than this. The quality of the state's case is because the Georgia RICO Act allows it. And it's infuriating to witness. But I hope that I at least can keep you entertained enough so you can return here and watch more of this. I will return tomorrow at around 4:30, in the afternoon because, as you see, I'm almost done before the court is today. And yeah, I hope I earned your subscription. I promised that I will follow this trial from gavel to gavel. Some days, because of my line of work, I might only do a recap. If I know it's a good trial day, I will stream it live. But sometimes nothing will probably happen for the entire week, and I will maybe do 2 or 3 recaps. And we know that sometimes a juror gets ill, sometimes the judge gets ill, sometimes the defense attorney gets ill, and at one occasion we already know that one defendant got stabbed in jail. So there will be breaks in this absolute tantanta of a case. And it is infuriating. It is so infuriating to witness this travesty. But I told you early on, I will follow this from gavel to gavel, and I hope you all give me the chance to provide you with it. Now, let's see here. Oh, Sal is on Salvador Dali Talks, who is doing an old trial, a palate cleanser of sorts. Will I have a Finally Friday this week? Yes. My Finally Friday is my casual stream. I might have one or a few subjects, but it's all about the guests and having just an end of the work week casual stream. So I will have it this Friday as well. Sorry. Yeah, I'll be sending you off to Salvador Dali. Thank you all for showing up. Like, subscribe, and do all the thingies. Hug your family. Unless your family is shit, then fuck them and go hug a person that is deserving of your love. Okay? Bye-bye.